Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon. Come a little closer. There's a great deal changing on this planet, but one thing remains the same. The love of Spirit for you and the state in which you were born. A creature, if you wish to call yourself that, made in the image of the Creator. Have you heard that before? And what is that image? Since God hasn't a physical form, what image do you see when you think of Spirit, the Creator? The image is compassion and love, and that is what you were created in, created magnificent. The circle of 12 is a reflection of that. It's an enhancement, if you wish, in the general knowledge that you've been getting for some time about who the Creator might be and who you might be in relation to that. The relationship, if there is one, if you believe there is one, to the creative source which you call God. There are those, and for many, many hundreds of years, who've told you that God is in the sky and God is God and you are human, and you would never meet that in any form. You'd never meet that energy. You can't. And that means that the separation that you have is complete. Like a big giant wall, you'll never be able to get to that place where the Creator is. Dear ones, that particular message is not the way it is. It truly is not. Any more than you would give birth to a beautiful child and wall it up and never talk to it again. You're on your own. Send them out. Hope they make it. That's not love. That's not the kind of compassionate love creation that you have. God is love. Have you heard that before? You cannot create God is love message and then at the same time say God is also one who will torture you, or God has a wall, or God, you can't talk to God. That God of love who loves you beyond measure, don't talk to him. Don't talk to her. There are oxymorons there, things that don't make any sense at all. And what we have wished to tell you for all of these years is that the creative source knows you because you are a piece of it, made in the image of the Creator, not accidentally. Made in the image of the Creator means made in love, magnificent, beautiful, compassionate soul that you are. So the endeavor is here to teach you that, to let you understand that none of you were born to be victims on this planet, none of you. And that if you find yourself wondering about if you are, you might consider these words, or even for a moment or two try to understand what we are giving you on a weekly basis, that perhaps it's different than you were told. Is it possible that there's nothing random that happens to humans? Is it possible that instead humans attract to them what their consciousness expects? And if you buy into that, then you're buying into another precept, and that is that consciousness is energy. And dear ones, if you haven't heard the news, that has now been proven. Your consciousness is a valid energy on the planet. And with that, you can understand perhaps why what you think you create. And what have you been thinking lately? We leave it at that. There is so much here that we want to give you that is in beauty and love and compassion, for you to understand that this particular planet is going through a beautiful, beautiful transition. A cycle. As I said earlier in the channeling, it is rediscovering that which it is not only capable of, but that is its lineage. You are representing a cycle that has happened so many times before. And in order to show you this, we have to get very esoteric, and I hope you're ready for that today. These are things you may not believe, but we're going to go to a place of core truth called your soul. There's a bridge we cross every circle of 12 that represents a bridge from the known to the unknown, or 4 dimensions to all dimensions. It's a tough bridge to cross for many. You cross it and you still have your 4-dimensional perceptions, so anything else that occurs, you don't understand it. So get multidimensional with me right now as we cross this bridge yet again in the circle of 12, one more time, into that which is an area that is beautiful, beyond understanding, where many things happen that would never happen in this particular dimensionality of 4 that you live in. So let's go there now. Let's cross the bridge together. Take my hand. Crossing the bridge is a remarkable experience if you really cognize what it means. You step into that perfect part of yourself. A part of yourself that there are those who said you never could do that, and you're doing it now. Come with me and do this, and understand the reality of so much of it is here. It truly can be a real experience to you, even though what I'm going to present will seem to be exceptionally esoteric. Exceptionally. There's a door I want you to go through that will not lead to the theater, but it leads to a place that you've been before. You go into this room, and there's a person you have met before, a person. That means that this time, as we did before, we let you see your perception of what an entity ought to look like. It's a person. You will humanize it, even though it's an energy. It needs to be a person with a personality. And you're going to meet this person. One person, not a theater, who's about to show you something spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. This is an entity, if you want to call it that perhaps we've met and perhaps we've not met. It just depends upon what you call him or her. This is a combination of a star master and a time master. Now there is a combination of similarities to those two. They belong together. You've always heard of space and time. But this day, this Star Master who you've met before is going to take you back in time and show you the stars. And the stars he's going to show you, or she is going to show you, depending upon who you've met today, is not yourself. You are not going to see the earth in any of these, but instead, you're going to see the cycle of the earth represented in other times and other places in your own galaxy. Premise: is it possible that what you are going through right now on this planet, others have gone through before? Or perhaps you have gone through before, if you believe that your soul was on other planets. And if so, and if that's true, and if you see it today, that means that at some level you remember it. And many are. That's part of an awakening, dear ones. A very, very subtle remembrance of something on this planet that's happening, where you are saying, it's about time. I expected this. Here it comes. Meet the Star Master, who is also a Time Master. And this Star Master is going to take you somewhere far, far away. In this galaxy, a series of planets, which today you call Orion. And he's going to show you something, that there was life there, much like yours. But this is not the real time We're in the past, dear ones. And in this constellation, which you will call Orion, the constellation in the sky you call Orion is not what we're talking about. It's the star. It's the planets around the star. And there's more than one, just like with your particular solar system. It's very similar all over the galaxy. There is a sun. There are planets. We take you to one in particular. And on that planet, which has no name at the moment, we'll call it within the influence of Orion, you will see a system, a cycle, where many are going through what you're going through right now. And if you took a look at their history, you would have seen that there were wars between wars, and there are not now. I want you to take a look closely, because the Star Master is showing you something, and he's speeding up the time to show you this planet went into what we would call ascension status. That only means that light and dark changed so much that there was much more light than dark in consciousness, and they grew up. And they started to understand the physics, that the same physics that the Creator has. The kind of physics that allow you to travel anywhere you want to with your consciousness instead of your body. And what they did with that is they went someplace else and planted the seed that they had. I want to take you to where they planted it, or where the influence is where they planted it. I'd like to take you to where the Arcturians live. Dear ones, there's been so many who say that the Arcturians and the Syrians and so many others all had something in common. And I will tell you what they did. There was a little bit of DNA in all of them that were the same. And someday, in the far, far future, when you meet them, they'll show it to you. And they will smile and show you yours. And they'll say, this is the part that we all have. And those you call the Arcturians, they had a history that was very similar. And if you take a look at them and what happened on there, the Time Master is manipulating all these things so you can take a look and see up close and all. And your mouth starts to open up wide when you see that they went through the same thing. Low consciousness to high. And even though the seeds were planted with the same biology, they had to go through the things in order to grow up, and they did. And you'll see where they went, as well as carrying the seeds of Orion and where they went. And they had the influence on where they went, to a place that's very close to you, very close, called the Seven Sisters, the Pleiadians. And if you want to take a look at them, we have told you. They had several habitable planets, and it was a mess. And there was horror there. They even had mass genocide. They came from the darkest place, and they made it. Tens of thousands before you ever had life on your earth. They were in the process of the ascension planet that they became. I told you this would be unbelievable. I told you this would be esoteric. We're talking about timing today. Timing. And when the Pleiadians reached that point of the ones who preceded them and the ones who preceded them, they also sent their consciousness somewhere else, and we call it Earth. You are in the process of a cycle that has happened repeatedly in this galaxy. It's a cycle of awakening to the creative source which created all of you. I told you this would be hard for you to understand or believe. Perhaps when we started talking about it, you rolled your eyes and you said, well, enough of that. Your DNA is stuff from the stars. You were not here by accident, never created here by accident. There was an influence that got you here, dear ones, and kept you here. For you to go through the cycle if you chose to. And when it came time, you did. And that is the cycle you're in now. That's the timing of this planet. Beautiful it is. And we have said this before, your history will not be what you are going into anymore. It's not going to repeat itself. You're going into uncharted territory that no one has seen on this planet, but it has been seen by your ancestors on the other stars. So there is a remembrance of what to do next and what happens. Blessed are the human beings who see that light at the end of this tunnel that you are going through right now, which would seem so dark. But it has the seeds of magnificence. Your future is bright. That's what we see, just as we saw it on all the ancestors. Stay and let that Star Master give you the details to show it to you over and over so you believe it. Ask the question, is there really something like this? Is it really true or is it not true? Ask Spirit if it's true. And see if you get a resonance that indeed not only is it true, but you might have been there to see it. I am crying in love with all of you. Stay. Stay. And revel in your history and the beauty of where you're going. And so it is.